Hello, welcome back to another day of Axie Infinity Origin Season 1 Meta-Analysis and Team Highlight. Today, I believe, is day 16, and let's see what we see. And it seems like Season 0 all over again with Spam and Rise and 1437 on top, using basically the similar kind of build that they've been using. So yeah, I was thinking whether the nerf balance changes made a difference. So far, not yet, but of course, yeah, you will see once people actually get to the mystic stuff. But at this point, you do see an NS anger already, and yeah, let's just see the rest of the field. And one thing actually that caught my eye. I mean, the rest is, well, you can see it's mostly Dawn, sustain and triple beast kind of thing. But one thing that actually caught my eye is this one. I'm not gonna do a highlight for this one just because I do wanna see 1437's team for today. But I will keep an eye on this one, the one with the sustain with the aqua. If I quickly go into it, then you'll see. Yeah, it's pretty much a sustain build with yeah, using an aqua instead, and the aqua is pretty interesting. You see it has a sakura, cucumber slice, strawberry shortcake as well. So basically like a plant, but then it's an aqua. So yeah, very interesting. And let me see what else is there. You do see some of the double bloodlust stuff, but you can see it's actually not that high up, and you don't see as much double bloodlust. They exist, but not that many. Yeah, and then it is pretty much similar, so that's why I'm not going to go through in detail. So yep, so top, well, once you get to 2000 it'll be about 62. So I think this is what I guess a lot of people are aiming for, at least, is get to 2k points, or the elo of 2k. I think that's a pretty good mark to hit if you are aiming for the top. Of course, most people's build is still going to be optimized if once they have the mystic runes and charms. But for now, yeah, it looks pretty similar as before. You do see the double bird here as well, which is pretty interesting. And having a dusk here is actually pretty interesting. So might get into that at some point. But today, definitely going to go into 1437's team. Before that, I'm just going to jump into the runes and charms, and you do see similar trend with bloodlust still being very strong. Even though, despite the fact that it's not really featured that much at the very top of the ladder, but of course, for it's still a very solid runes to get to challenger, I would say. Especially the aqua are relatively cheap in terms of the price. So for people who are aiming for, let's say, top 1k, then getting double bloodlust should be pretty doable with like a relatively budget aqua, or two budget aquas. And then actually one thing I wanted to see is the mystic, because we start to see mystic finally being on sale, and it's insane price, of course, at this point, because not many people have it yet. Yeah, 1 ETH basically is just crazy for something that is just temporary, right? It's only applicable for season 1. Yeah, but of course, I feel like these prices will go down at some point. So, of course, not financial advice, but I would personally wouldn't rush into getting those. And let's see the charms as well. Okay, I'll just go back to the epic first. Yeah, the prices are getting a lot lower. Oh my goodness, the sun stem used to be a 16 or something, now it's at 9. But the bubble paste still pretty strong, meaning people are still using quite a lot of aqua. Yeah, so there's yeah, the gist of it. And actually, wow, the gecko mask really going down to 5 already, so that's why no rush in getting these. And I feel like the epic at some point will all just get to $5 ish. And look at the mystic, you do see a few right at basically 1 ETH kind of thing. We only see this one here, the jellyfish as well. And yeah, the flamingo hammer, to be honest, is a bit of a weaker one, but I do like it just because it do well against the stain kind of thing. So I do want to get one of these once I well, hopefully I can craft it myself, but this price definitely not worth it for me personally, for a temporary kind of item. Reason being, I would rather invest a bit more on, you know, just like getting good Axies. Of course, not financial advice, but I feel like at least for the Axies, you can use it for the next season and so on, and you can sell it off. Whereas for these runes and charms, which are only applicable for season 1, you can't really resell them after the season, just because nobody will probably buy it at the same price. Yeah, so that's just my well, what I see in terms of the values. But yeah, I assume these will probably go down, but probably not that, it won't be that cheap basically. But well, we'll see. The season is still a long way to go. But let's get into today's team highlight, and it's AS1437's team. And you probably is quite familiar with this one already if you've watched you know, any of followed him for a while. Because they, let's see, yeah, they've been using this free beast rage fury kind of team, but let's just see what makes this team what sets this team apart from the rest of the field. So let's actually look at the front. I believe this is the front. Let me just double check. Yep, so it does have 3 Mask of Frenzy, a lot of yep, Pendulum Scale at the top 2, and then the Reckless Hunter, which probably replaced by Endless Anger at some point once they get it. But yeah, all Vitality basically, just to be as bulky as possible, just to set up the powerful turns. And for the front, Little Piece, I think, actually, yeah, I was going to say Little Piece all across the board, but no. Okay, so start at the front first, Little Piece, and then interestingly, you see, right, it's double card draw, even though it is limit, meaning you can only play one of these in one turn, but getting card draw at different times could be very important, especially in a Fury build where sometimes you do need extra cards while you have extra energy. Shiba is a must, I must say. Once the tank or the front get hit by less than 75%, then you do get the rage, which really powers this whole team. And the fragile is interesting just to get through the more sustained kind of team, and the confident, I feel like, is a must as well. So yeah, the card draw is the one that really sets this team apart, because I have played against like rage teams where they don't really have enough card draw, and then they are just wasting their fury turns. But it is very hard to pilot this kind of team. But interestingly, for the mid, you can see, right, so it's actually not running Little Piece, probably because you might not need 3 Little Piece in the team, so go for a Chubby instead, just to do some AoE, because like other than the Chubby, there's actually no AoE in this particular build, so it could be important to get rid of those summons stuff. Yeah, I'm getting the bleed in as well. Innocent Lamb is a very good choice in terms of like you can choose between Confident and Cottontail depending on a scenario, so that's actually pretty good. And interesting is a Cactus, of course, could be replaced, I guess, by Eggshell or something. Cactus does do a bit more value, but you do need to do initial. But I think the most important thing is to apply Taunt so that you save the other 2 beasts, keep the other 2 beasts alive, especially the front, I would say. So you want to spread the damage across, so that's why the Taunt, it could be pretty important. Yeah, I think this is like the AoE plus these Innocent Lamb having a choice is another important factor. And finally, let's look at the back. And the back, again, not a very typical one. Okay, Little Piece is typical, but okay, 9 to get the bleed, well, synergizing with this bleed. But okay, so then the other 2 are also pretty standard. Ronan is a must, I would say. Deal insane damage at the end of the turn you play it. Deals 200, sometimes 300 damage. And then Little Branch just to get more rage, get into Fury mode. So it's an enabler in that sense. Axie Kiss is interesting because this actually doesn't really go below 50% that much, but the important part is actually target any enemy, meaning you can chip off or like finish off low enemy with like low health. Like you can maybe like some hit a summons as well, like a Mavis kind of thing. So this gives you another way of dealing with some summons. And I would say the most interesting one is this tiny dino. It is very important because if retained, meaning you do get to keep this card, well, without using the, what's that item called, the tape thing, right? So meaning once you get into the free mode, then you should have this card in hand, and probably it'll be sitting in your hand for quite a while already, that you will do so much damage with one energy. Yeah, inferior mode, probably 200 plus damage, so it's pretty crazy. So let's actually jump right into the games. But of course, not easy at the challenger level, even for 1437. You can see that he actually went up to 2130 in terms of the elo, and then go back down a bit. But it is quite rough. So it is kind of even, of course, a whole range of it's a pretty good climb, it looks like. But then yes, it's not easy once you get to the top. And from my experience facing against challenger, there's definitely no guarantee win, right? It's everyone is very strong. So let's just maybe look at one that's maybe against poison. I actually quite like against poison. You can see, right, this 1437 is so high up that each win only gives 3 points, which is pretty crazy, whereas each loss deducts by 13. So that's why it is very, very tough to be on top. But okay, let's just play this one and then see how this one goes. Okay, let's pause here and actually go into the runes and charms. The runes are pretty obvious for this kind of build, but the charms, 2 Mask of Frenzy, because these are the 2 most commonly used cards, and you do want to use these to get to the Fury mode and then use the rest of the cards. So pretty interesting. Well, rather something to take note of if you are running a Fury build. Yeah, all Vitality, I think, and then all Vitality except for Shiba, which helps you get to the Fury mode a bit easier as well. So that's why it's basically 5 rage stack if you use a Shiba that's activated. So yeah, let's see how the opponents goes. Yeah, so very strong runes as well. Actually, not the best of runes, I would say. Delay Protection is not the strongest, but the opponent is in Challenger, because I think in Challenger you only get matched with other Challenger opponent. This one is pretty standard. Just a lot of poison stuff. Do get a bit of some attacks as well as shield. And let's see, yep, so Tiny Turtle, very important for poison build, just to slow down the opponent so that the poison can do its job, and a bit of reflect as well, and a lot of AoEs, and then Gila as well. Yeah, Tiny Turtle, so pretty strong standard standard build for poison. So let's see how this one goes. Okay, start with the poison. Yeah, and then keep the Green Thorn as well. Pretty interesting. So far it is, well, yeah, okay, that's pretty strong, right? Getting into 4 stacks already. And yep, so it's basically put poison, and I assume just puts poison at this point, not even bother shielding. That's because it is a race, and you of course want to get a lot of poisons in before they get all set up. But you can see, right, without the shield, the front is really getting pretty low. And Tiny Dino, you see Tiny Dino already setting up here. I think Tiny Dino is very strong. Once this gets set up, and this is gonna be like, and having an extra card that's like 1 cost deals so much damage is just crazy. Okay, setting it up really. Right, so next turn can already unleash the Tiny Dino. Of course, you don't want to do it now. So yep, okay, very strong as well. Setting a little piece, but do keep the Tiny Dino, right? Not using the extra energy to deal the damage, because you do want to save the cards until you are in Fury mode. Interestingly, yeah, saving the Gila. Yeah, not. I guess just want to stun the opponent so that they might not have the best of play. But yeah, so you can see the flexibility of being able to choose to be a confident, and then just whack for 300 damage. Yep, so another tiny dino, right? So this is where you can see tiny dino is so strong, 200 something damage. Crazy. So opponent is really very slow at this point. Even with the Gila, probably not enough. Not even going for the Gila. Just shielding at this point. Not too sure if that's the right play, but no choice really. Damage has been done. Yep, another Fury mode. Yeah, it's just crazy amount of damage, and that is GG's. So you can see how efficient this team's get into Fury mode and just whack the opponent so hard. Okay, so let's actually look at another one which might be result in a different kind of thing. And well, I was going to go for this, but actually, yeah, it's not going to be too interesting to look at a mirror match. So let's look at this one, whereas against more of a typical, just a lot of extra energy, I assume, and hit hard kind of team. So instead of this, well, rage kind of thing, which I will see as more of a combo setup team, the opponent's team looks like it's just gonna be, yeah, Beast, Aqua, Bird, and just hit the opponent very hard kind of team. Okay, let's just double check the thing and think the runes and charms are basically the same here. And let's look at the opponent. Yep, so 1 free energy here with the Ronin, so very typical, and then a lot of bubble stuff, which is quite interesting. 3 bubbles, so this aqua alone can get to the bubbles. Yep, another extra energy with Ronin, so don't really see Ronin on a aqua that much, and of course throw staff, very important just to get through Pendulum Scale Beast, and of course Raven Tactics Bird as well, and then Raven Static Bird. Interesting, you don't really see birds run Nemo that much, but it does run. And another extra energy, double top with the Sun Charm, also very strong, and this probably could be the key to success if you can shut down the back. But of course Confident does get rid of the sleep, so that can be a bit frustrating, but actually Pigeon Post might be another key as well. But of course Little Owls do quite a bit as well, so let's just see how the opponent goes. Okay, actually 1437 goes first. Very lucky to draw into an extra energy, and probably just gonna go for the bleed. Okay, so pretty good start for 1437. Yeah, so yeah, one of the typical turn 2 have 1 extra energy, so basically playing 3 cards. So also pretty good start by the opponent as well. You can see the bubble already at 3. Or if they get the other bubble card, it would have been the dream start, but not quite the dream. But you can see this is kind of the dream, right? So getting 5 stacks, right? 1 hit, 15 stacks effectively across the whole team. But you do see that, yes, this is the power of this kind of team with extra energy. You basically get through the front already, and Blackmail also disrupt a bit of the draw as well, so that is actually pretty strong by the opponent. It is well both METAT8 teammates, so it's gonna be a bit rough. Yeah, just facing off against the teammate at the top level. I mean during the ladder. Okay, wow, very strong. Yeah, basically got sniped because of the Blackmail. You can see, like, it's just taking a lot of damage. Probably Ronan can KO already from this point. Not too sure if Golda is necessary, but yeah, I felt like Ronan probably would have done the job. Yeah, but yeah, I felt like that was a bit of a misplay because the Golda could have gone to here, but in this case, yes, the Golda is here. It's just no way back, and that's GG. So you can see, right, this kind of I would say hyper aggressive with multiple extra energy kind of team does match quite well, I would say, against our, well, call it a combo team. So you can imagine it's basically an aggro team versus like a combo team, and sometimes if aggro teams really get a good draw and just manage to, you know, KO the opponent's Axie before they can set up the combo, then yeah, so it's a pretty good demonstration of how you can beat this kind of rage combo. It's really just to hit them hard. And yeah, so okay, so that is it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed my video, do consider giving me a like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, and use my Lenosian code Morris. Thanks again and have a good one.